There's a fight brewing over the Fed and its independence, and this is a fight you've got to watch. I'm Chris. This is Fiercely Independent. I want to talk about the Federal Reserve's independence, and it triggered actually from a story recently about Lisa Cook, Federal Reserve Governor, and her $1.2 million legal bills. This has nothing to do with her or her legal bills or even how Washington works in terms of how do they manage Federal Reserve governors. This is about an issue that affects everybody, and that's the Federal Reserve and its independence. Think about it. The Federal Reserve affects all of us in the sense of what's inflation? What are our interest rates? Do businesses hire or fire? How is our retirement savings looking, right? All of these are affected by the Fed and the decisions it makes. More the reason why it has to remain independent. Now, the question is, well, what could happen should the president have control over the Fed? And I'm not saying this president, I'm saying any president, Democrat or Republican. We cannot allow a president to run the Fed for a variety of reasons. The first one that comes to mind is corruption, self-dealing. If I'm the president and I control interest rates, I can decide when they go up, when they go down, and I could trade off of those decisions prior to them hitting the market, and there would be nothing you could do to stop me because, well, frankly, the Supreme Court says so. Supreme Court has made one of its worst decisions since maybe Dred Scott or Citizens United by allowing and giving presidential immunity over decisions they make in their official capacity. So again, if I'm officially running the Fed and those interest rates, I can profit off of it, and there's nothing that can be done to stop it. There's also the issue of political manipulation. So let's say my party's not doing so well and midterms are coming up. I could juice the market, lower the rates, get everybody excited, and certainly take their eyes off the ball so my party looks good just before that election cycle begins. But really what worries me more is the long-term damage. I know a lot about economics. I probably know enough to be really dangerous if I was in charge of the Fed. I don't want to have someone who knows enough to be dangerous running or calling the shots for the Fed. That's a recipe for long-term disaster. If you can't run a casino, and the house always wins, if you can't run a casino and make that profitable, probably not qualified to be calling the shots for the Fed. So, hate to be blunt like that, but that's the way it is. Now, that being said, the Federal Reserve absolutely needs to be held under some level of accountability. These are private people. We need to know just for, again, self-dealing and corruption. We don't want that to happen either on that side. They need to be open to criticism. We need to be able to call them out. We need them to justify the decisions they make. So just because they're independent doesn't mean they're not held to some level of accountability and oversight. Need that too. Bottom line, we need our Fed to be fiercely independent, just like us, just like other independent voters out there. With that, I say, keep your eye on this because the fight is not over, and this is something that's going to impact all of us. So I hope you have a great day. Stay fierce, stay independent. We'll talk to you soon.